What's up, guys? It's Greg at Chimera Dreams. This is something I've been wanting to try for a while, which is, we're going to call it the Middle Grounds discussion. It's the second one we've filmed, but it's the first one gone up because the other one's, well, it's in editing, so it's going to take a while. So when the other one comes out, ignore the fact that it says it's the first. It's not. I'm here with my friend Perrie from The Great Big Disconnect, which will be linked in the comments. And the idea with these is there's going to be two or more of us, and we're just going to talk about whatever topic one of us has chosen. So I've let Perrie choose the topic, which is...
What is it?
You picked it.
Yeah, but is there an actual title of the topic?
Nature versus nurture.
Oh, there you go.
Basically, Perrie thinks that you can be naturally good at something, whereas I feel like in most cases you can learn pretty much anything. So we're basically going to argue about it until we're done, and that's what this video is going to be. I like this particular topic. We could have picked any number of things, but we agree on a lot of stuff, so this is probably the best one. The first one we thought of that we don't agree on.
It's kind of difficult to find a subject.
Well, yeah, because if you pick something like racism, I don't know any racists, like on purpose. No. Like maybe for the sake of these videos, I should make friends with a racist, just to sort of teach them to not be racist, you know? Yeah,
or maybe you just need to go out and, you could do one of those things where you're interviewing people in the street.
I was thinking of that. I was also thinking of doing something like that for the channel, because like I'm posting all these videos and stuff up, but when people start seeing things, they're not going to know much about me. And I don't like talking about myself, so I think if I did like an interview thing where somebody wrote random questions down that I had, because I don't like scripting these things, so if somebody wrote down a bunch of questions they think they should ask me, and I'll answer them, because it'll be an honest reaction, I won't have time to prepare. So I was thinking of doing that as well. But yeah, like, I mean, this is the first one that's going to go up on the channel really quickly, because we've got the editing capabilities now. So as it progresses, I probably will just go out into the streets, have somebody filming me, and we'll just go up and ask people random questions. Because, like, I know I want to tackle things like sexism, feminism, racism, classism, all the horrible isms, as it were. But the problem is I don't know anybody that disagrees with me on any of that, because
you make friends with people who you have common interests with.
Well, exactly. So I don't make friends with racists or sexists, but I do have feminist friends. So that one I could tackle, because like Cara, I want Cara to be involved in that video. I could get Scruff involved, and get passionate people to start talking about feminism, because that's not a yes or no thing, because there's varying degrees of feminism. Yeah. Whereas like racism, it's like racism is bad. All agreed? All agreed. That's the end of the video. Yeah, like it'd be too short. So I'd probably have to find somebody who is a little bit racist. Like someone who doesn't like because you get a lot of people who don't like the Nepalese in this area, and you find somebody who doesn't like the Muslims. I don't really want to spend time on people like that, because I don't want to give them a soapbox for their beliefs. What I'd actually like to do is talk them down, essentially.
Yeah. Around to
you don't like Muslims, why? Yeah. Because I can't think of any reason not to like an entire culture, which is why I like what you chose and what Scruff chose on the other video, because they're not, like Scruff chose, is swearing appropriate. And we went on for about an hour about that, whereas you've chosen about, are you naturally talented at something, or can anybody learn something? Which I guess is sort of a vanilla choice, because we're not going to be pissing anybody off. Oh, yeah. But at the same time, it is still an interesting concept, because I don't completely agree with you. I think most people could learn anything.
See, I don't think that you can. Everything is either a talent or not. Some things I think you could probably learn. I could learn to play the piano, but I may not be as good at learning to play the piano as somebody who is naturally gifted.
See, but that's a different thing. So, like what you're getting at is some people just somehow get it. Like, put it to you this way: like, no baby is born being able to play the piano, right? So,
has anybody actually tried to make a baby play the piano?
When they're born, they don't even know what their fingers are for. So I'm pretty certain they don't know how to play piano. And their hands are so small, they'd have to learn how to play. Like, you're playing with two hands, each finger's touching a key. With a baby, it's each fist is touching a key. They'd have to be very
quick. Get a miniature piano for babies.
They can't hold their own head up. How would they learn how to play piano?
I could hold the head. That's fine. Or someone. I'm not going to force babies to play piano.
Most of the babies I've met, as newborns, they tend to spend most of their time sticking their tongue out and crying or sleeping.
Because they're not playing the piano?
Maybe we're not giving them the right interests. Maybe that's the thing. No, I think some people, like, I don't think you're born with a talent. I don't think I was born to store way too much nerdy information, or I don't think I was born to be good at things. I think because of how I grew up, I naturally got more subconscious input from things without realizing it, and then when it came time to actually put my hands to a certain task, I could do it quicker than someone else. But there's probably a lot of factors that led up to that I wasn't paying attention to, that I learnt unconsciously. I don't think I was born with the ability to archive way too much trivia, you know?
But how do you know? You could actually have, your brain could be wired differently to mine, because I can't hold that much information in my brain.
Yeah, but I think you could learn how to do that. Remember, I spent a lot of time wanting to archive information in my brain. When I read comic books as a kid, I wanted to remember everything. It's the same with books. I tend not to reread that many books unless they really blew my mind, because I've read the entire thing. I memorized the entire thing. It's the same with movies.
Weird.
There's certain movies I just don't like watching again. There's nothing wrong with the movie. It's a phenomenal movie, but I remember it from start to finish, like The Lion King. And that wasn't a skill that I wanted to learn. It was 366 inputs in a single year. Thank you, Jock. A little bit of background. My brother was obsessed with The Lion King as a kid, and I, obviously being the older brother, had to sit and watch it with him. And for a solid year, he watched it every single day and twice on Christmas Day. So I haven't seen The Lion King since I was maybe, 12? Because I don't need to rewatch that movie. I can literally remember the entire thing from start to finish, frame by frame, word for word. No, we're not doing that. I'm not going to repeat all of that on camera now. But that's what I mean. I remember The Lion King perfectly. That's not that I am predisposed to remembering things better than other people.
No.
I had so much input.
That is repetition.
Same as Star Wars, Die Hard.
Yeah, that's repetition.
Yes, but that's what I mean. My memory is repetition, but I can absorb...
It's not
like, it's designed to absorb certain things. I couldn't absorb lessons I learned at school, but when I chose to revisit those bits of information, I think my brain has learnt that when I read something, it needs to stay in my brain. So for the most part, I remember really obscure shit because the mediums that I use are the same mediums over and over. So if I'm reading something, no matter what I'm reading, my brain keeps it. Same with movies, same with books, for the most part. I used to be really good with songs, but I can't actually remember lyrics very well anymore. Not new ones. I can remember old ones.
Yeah.
But like I've revisited a few songs recently that I was confident I knew word for word, and I've slipped up loads of times. So obviously, that piece of information, it has to be retaught. You have to practice, right? So I don't think that I was born with the capability of having a good memory for those things. I think I taught myself to be that way, even if I didn't intentionally teach myself to be that way.
Okay, but that's memory.
Okay, so give me another example. Give me an example of, like, what talent do you mean that some people are good at that others have to learn, or that some people are better at?
Okay, take drawing.
Okay.
For instance.
Yeah.
Some people can try and try and try and try and try, and they just can't draw what they want to that is in their mind.
Okay, but then maybe that's not a lack of talent. Maybe that's a lack of applying. Like, maybe they just keep repeating the same mistakes without trying to teach themselves something different.
Maybe, but I think art's different. I think that some people have an artistic mind.
Sure.
And I think having that makes you able to apply it better. And an artistic mind, I think, is how your brain just actually works.
Yeah, but I don't think they have an artistic mind naturally. I still think they learnt somewhere along the lines, and it leaned more towards artistry than it did. Like take Chris, for example, right? So Chris was smart when I met him. Then he had the crash. Then he was smart still afterwards, right? And he's always been really good at maths, or at least, again, it's sort of outside perspective. I've always seen that he's really good at maths, right? But it's not like he was born being able to count better than the rest of us. He just understands those concepts because his brain has practiced over and over. I mean, he did maths in school, maths in college.
But when there are people that... I did maths at school.
Yeah.
And I was horrific at it. There was no way I knew any of that stuff.
But did you enjoy maths?
At first I did.
Okay.
I enjoyed the coursework behind maths and all of this stuff. I didn't like tests because I crumbled under pressure in that sense. But when it came to actually trying to learn things and to wrap my head around equations and things like that, I couldn't get it. And I tried for hours and I just could never get it. give me a pencil and a piece of paper and I can draw something.
See, I suck at maths. I can do the basic 4, but with multiplication, division, it takes me a few seconds of sort of staring off into space before I get the answer.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother sucked at maths. And we've had a discussion about it before. The reason we suck at maths is because we didn't like it.
Mm.
It's not that we couldn't learn maths. It's that we definitely didn't want to. I think if I had loved maths, or even if I had liked it a little bit, I think I could have applied myself so much more and learnt more. But I flat out put my hands up to it, I chose not to learn.
Okay.
Because I hated the subject. I found nothing interesting.
Yeah,
like I'm an emotional type. I don't care about digits and numbers. You know, tell me feelings. Tell me dreams. Don't tell me fucking 2 + 2. Like, I know how that shit works. I'm okay.
Yeah.
But when I said that stuff, you'll use this stuff later in life, and we laughed in their face. You will. It's just
some of it.
Yeah, but we were never prepared to learn more. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Chris isn't the best example because he's gone on to things that people like you and I would never use. He's gone on to way more complicated things, but he still wanted to go on to other things. So he opened himself up to be better at maths, to learn more.
But is that because of the type of mind that he had in the first place?
Yes, but that's why I use him as an example, because the type of mind he had in the first place might not be the type of mind he has now.
But what I mean is that mind was open to maths, whereas ours were not.
Yes, but that's what I mean.
So the fundamental beginning of it is what I mean.
Sure, but if Chris was open to maths before the accident, I mean, I have no memory to back up whether that's true or not, but if he was, then the damage caused by the accident didn't dissuade his mind from still wanting to learn more. But he's a unique example that I use because maybe he was somewhere ahead of us and the crash made him more likely to want to learn.
Okay.
So that's what I mean. You're saying that some people are born capable of, but that's why I use Chris as an example. He may not have been born capable, and he took a hit to the brain, right? So he's had damage.
But he was already crazy smart before the crash.
Yes, but that's what I mean. I don't think he was born with a brain that was more analytical or more capable. I think he was born with a brain, and he chose to learn more and opened himself up to having more information fed in that he will keep. You know, if I wasn't in love with movies, I probably wouldn't remember them like I do. But because of the subject, I open myself up to learn more information.
We learn things easier about things that we love.
Yes.
But that's not what my point is. I think somebody... Okay, so take this as an example, completely different example.
Okay.
I'm born. Christina Aguilera is born.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot sing like Christina Aguilera, and no matter how much training I would have, I would never physically be able to sing like Christina Aguilera. That is something that you cannot teach. That is a talent that was born, because technically, to a point, her vocal cords are built differently to mine.
If I may, that's a bad example.
Why?
For 2 reasons. One, it's the same organ. It's the same collection of fibers, etc., in your throat as in hers, as in mine, as in every human's, right? But you're never going to sound like her.
No, I mean the capabilities that Christina Aguilera has, like Celine Dion or Whitney Houston. Capability.
I still disagree.
From no.
From a young age, your body is still changing and growing, right? So you put that training in.
I did.
You could reform.
Right. There's no way. I could physically sing like that.
No, you might have a point though. They talk about vocal range a lot. You know, some people like Ronnie James Dio, Corey Taylor. I mean, I know they're not in the same genre as the others, but I care more about them.
Yeah, they don't need to be the same.
Ronnie James Dio, Corey Taylor, Benji Webb, Dallas Green from Alexis on Fire. Their vocal, the range of what they can hit is so much more than anybody else's. So so maybe all right.
Darren
So that might be a good. So Darren Hayes as well, Michael Jackson. That might be a good point. But then we're also using examples of people that sang from a young age.
Doesn't matter.
Well, I kind of think it does. Michael Jackson was a kid when he started, and he trained his voice.
Okay.
Okay, maybe not Benji or Corey Taylor, because I haven't done the research to back it up.
What about Darren Hayes?
I know Darren Hayes was young when he joined Savage Garden. Celine Dion was a kid when she started singing. Christina Aguilera was a Mickey Mouse kid when she started singing.
But when you love singing, you do it all the time. I have been singing every single day my whole life.
Okay.
I always sing. From a kid, I sang. I just physically.
Yeah, but you're also talking about a subjective capability, because I don't like Celine Dion's voice.
Mm-hmm.
I like Christina Aguilera's voice, but I don't like her music. I like Corey Taylor and Ronnie James Dio. Mm-hmm. But, you know, we especially me, I lean towards metal music. Mm-hmm. And metal singers can't sing. For the most part, famous rock singers, in whatever the scale we're using, can't sing. Right? Look at is it Dexter from Offspring, the lead singer from Offspring, right? Yeah. Or Tom DeLonge from Blink.
Oh yeah,
he can't sing. They can't sing, but music is subjective. We think Christina Aguilera can sing. Well, we all agree that she can sing, right? But there is no perfect singer to then measure everyone else by. Who made the rules on who can sing and who can't? We know what tone deaf sounds like. Mm-hmm. We know what off key sounds like. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that she can sing and you can't. She can sing and you can. It's just a completely different type of singing.
She can sing better.
Is it better though? That I know we're getting into a different realm here, but who agreed the rules of this competition? How is she better if we don't have a yardstick to measure it by? Mm-hmm. We know she sings well, beautifully. And we know that, again, I'm going to use him as an example because of his range. We've got Corey Taylor. He can definitely sing. Yeah. In Bother, in any of the slow Stone Sour songs, in Circle by Slipknot, he can sing, right? Yeah. But he can also roar and scream and go off key if he needs to, right? Mm-hmm. So how do we measure her against him if there's no yardstick for either of them? I personally feel Ozzy Osbourne can't sing. No. But again, I love his voice. So whose yardstick are we using here?
So that's gotten to a tangent because of the fact...
Yeah, but that's the point of this thing, is we tangent off.
Because of the fact that people like something doesn't mean if somebody's got born talent or learnt.
Well, of course they had to learn it. Tom DeLonge didn't walk out being able to sing, and he didn't learn anymore.
Yeah. I believe that somebody like Tom DeLonge or Ozzy Osbourne learned, but weren't born with that talent.
Whereas you think people like Christina were born naturally capable of singing.
Yeah.
See, but then that's where this sort of becomes difficult, because we know that she started singing at a young age.
Doesn't matter.
We don't know that she could sing to begin with.
You can't have a voice like that and not naturally be able to just do it.
Says who? She doesn't just walk around all day going, I don't have to work at this, I know how to do it. I think talent sounds like it's a gift that you just use to I mean, these people still have to improve, right? So Christina, as she is, she may have had a little extra push over you, as an example.
Oh, I see what you mean.
She may have been born with that slightly different vocal build, right? But she didn't get to hear by just...
No, she would have had vocal training and stuff. Exactly. Like I've got friends that, like Will, for example.
Yeah.
That man can sing, but he knew that he needed certain honing to be able to get it to where it is. But I would say that he was born with that talent, because he naturally knew how to push his voice so that it was coming from the right place and not... I sing from my throat a lot of the time. He taught me tried to teach me to do it better, but I still...
But there you go, you've
tried.
You've sort of proved my point a little bit here.
No, but not really, because I still can't sing like that.
But I think music is a bad example. I think singing especially is a very bad example, because it is a subjective skill, right? Will could sing. I feel that I can sing. Mm-hmm. I'm not great, but I can. Mm-hmm. Unless you're tone deaf, I'm pretty certain every human being can sing in a way that at least one or more people will like what they hear. But it's a very subjective topic. Mm-hmm. Being able to do maths is black and white. Being able to sing is a grey area.
Okay. Being able to draw?
I also feel it's a grey area. You're talking about art. Art itself is a completely subjective world.
Okay, but in...
I mean, look at this as an example. I love your drawings and you hate them.
I don't hate them. I just see things wrong with them.
Yeah? So I have...
But you've said that I'm talented. But is it a talent or is it something I learned to do?
See, drawing's a good point to use because I can't fucking draw.
Why?
But I know it's because I don't apply myself.
So do you think that... You say that I'm talented with drawing or creating, making things?
Yeah, I don't think talented is the word I mean.
No.
I think you're a skilled artist.
So basically, you've practiced really hard at that. Good job.
Yeah, you have drawn
No.
often and in depth until eventually your often and in depth at the age of 5 is totally eclipsed by your often and in depth at the age of 20.
No. You know that the drawing that I did of the girl with the devil on her shoulder?
Yeah.
On her shoulder? I hadn't drawn anything for over a year before I did that.
Yes, which means that what you drew was a year ago's capabilities.
No, because if almost just proved your point.
I think if you kept drawing every single...
If I drew every day, I'd be better.
People do it on Instagram all the time.
Yeah.
You see that guy, it was a drawing of, is it Thorin from The Hobbit? The dwarf leader.
Oh, okay.
In the Hobbit movies, right?
Yeah.
With his crown and his big jacket and stuff from like the 3rd movie. And he drew him 6 weeks ago. And it was okay, it was better than I could do. But, you know, you could definitely tell that it wasn't what he wanted. And he drew it as best he could. And he says in the blurb, this is as good as it can get, right? And then he shows you 6 weeks later, and then he shows you 6 weeks later. And the basic shape and size of the picture is the same, but the details and the sort of the little inflections are so much more detailed. And all he's done is draw every single day. You think Adi Granov just woke up one day and could draw pictures that I would kill to own? No.
Practice does make you better at something, but I think you have to naturally have that flair about your brain.
I think you can have a natural understanding of what it is you're trying to achieve. But I think that natural understanding is from the things that you chose to do leading up to that moment. You know, I know what comic book art I like and don't like, and I only know that because I'm not from an artistic family. We didn't have that stuff around. I read so many comics that I knew that early versions of Spawn drawn by McFarlane and then the later versions drawn by some of his friends or himself, you know, I much prefer the later ones. I know that I love Andy Park and Andy Granov's art, but I know that I dislike John Romita's art.
That's taste, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's still a subjective thing.
Yeah.
I know that these things look good to me and these things don't because I spent so long looking at all of it and my brain went, not keen on that, keen on that. And I mean, I could sit and try and pinpoint exactly what it is and where I think that initial understanding came from, but I don't really know. I just know that in my mind, Adi Granov is the best artist I've ever seen, and everyone else is either close second or distant third. Right? I know that at the bottom of that table is me, but it's because I don't aspire to be able to do what Adi Granov can do because in my mind, I think it takes the mysticism out of it. I think if I knew how he did it, if I could achieve what he achieves, I'd just consider it something I draw. Yeah. Because he achieved something that I've never seen anybody do up close except him. I want to maintain the mysticism of that. Yeah. But I learnt what I like and what I don't like.
Yeah, but it's different.
By being around those things. I know I don't like the book It by Stephen King because I've read a bunch of Stephen King stuff and It and Dreamcatcher, and no, I'm not putting them in the same table.
But you're gonna start writing.
I don't like It, the book. I like the story. I just don't like reading the book. It's
you just don't like
it's bigger than it needs to be, right? Whereas
see what I did there.
Yeah,
he doesn't like it. He doesn't like it.
But I don't like Dreamcatcher for different reasons. I just know that because I've read enough stuff that I have a comparison base. If I'd never read a book in my entire life and I picked up It, I probably would love every single moment of that book.
But then it's the same kind of thing with movies, isn't it? Hang on a sec. I'm going to pause.
Okay.
I want to make sure that it's still recording. Yes, it is.
So just cut that bit.
Yeah.
Or leave it in, whatever. What was
might be John or the same thing I think with movies.
Yeah.
If you'd never seen a movie in your life and then you watched The Avengers, well, that's probably a bad example because it's so good, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean.
Because that's a taste thing, because we grow up liking a certain type of thing.
I think, again, I don't know. Excuse me. There's actually I would approve that. Some people don't like superhero movies. There are people in this world who have not seen Avengers, purposefully because it's a superhero movie. I think your attraction to that movie, or attraction to that style, is because you grew up leading up to something that is familiar. You know, I think anybody who hasn't seen at least most of Spielberg's movies, is probably never going to think even remotely the same way I do, because Spielberg's movies are dreamers' movies.
The same with me with Tarantino movies.
Exactly. Yeah. Right, like,
Artistry.
I love most of Tarantino's work, but I think if you've never seen his stuff, and you start at Kill Bill, which is very much a movie I feel he made for himself more than the rest of us, I think you would be put off instantly. Whereas if you started like the rest of us with Reservoir Dogs, and then Pulp Fiction, and then skip Jackie Brown, I think you start to appreciate what he does. Yeah. Or if you've never seen Tarantino and you refuse to watch it, and then you watch From Dusk Till Dawn, yeah, you're watching a Rodriguez movie, but the words you're hearing are Tarantino words, right? So I think you'd be put off.
The same with, I think, it's hard though with the recent ones, because a lot of people, like me, I will watch a movie because it's got his name on it. But
I will now. I got very cautious after Death Proof, and I had skipped things like Kill Bill 1 and 2 because I really had not enjoyed Jackie Brown. So it was many years later, after Kill Bill had been out for a long time, that I finally watched the first one, and then dragged myself to find the DVD to watch the second one. And I was okay. I was like, I like those, don't like these. These are okay. And then Death Proof happened, and I was put off completely. Because I think if you only base everything he does on his first two movies, you become exceptionally elitist. And he can't make any mistakes, because then you'll just throw him away. Which is weird, because we let Spielberg get away with whatever he wants. As much as we complain, we let Lucas get away with 3 bad movies, right? But Tarantino makes 1 or 2, and suddenly, no, fuck you, we don't want to see anything more. Meanwhile, he then comes back with Inglourious Bastards. I know people who haven't seen Inglourious Bastards because they didn't like the other movies enough. And that's when it started getting really good. Like, he was a great filmmaker. Now he's a fucking
It was Inglourious Bastards that made me watch anything that he does.
I find Inglourious Bastards, Django Unchained, and Hateful Eight to be like a Western trilogy for me.
Yeah.
And those are my favourites. But Reservoir Dogs still has a very special place in my heart.
I'm like that with Pulp Fiction. See, I've got a friend that hates Tarantino because he just hates it. He will refuse to watch anything, and then I made him watch Django.
Yes, but again,
and he adored it.
Sort of staying on topic, you have to understand the time that Tarantino was making movies in, and you have to understand why he was making movies. Simon Sinek says, if you find out why, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it, right? Tarantino's movies at face value are nonsense. But if you understand why characters are doing the things they do, or going the places they go, or why everything is jumbled up in Pulp Fiction, or why there's whole pieces of Reservoir Dogs missing, then you start to actually love the movies because you understand the man that made them. It's the same as Spielberg.
Same with Joss Whedon.
Same with Joss Whedon.
Think about Buffy. The amount of people that refuse to watch it because it's Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Well, now people are refusing to watch it because his ex-wife gave him shit. No, because...
Just for life.
Being a bad husband doesn't make you a bad feminist. That's all I'll say.
That's a very, off subject.
We'll deal with that in another video.
Yeah, that.
It is still annoying that they attacked it. But yes, Joss Whedon stuff, you have to understand why Joss Whedon is the way he is, and why he is the way he is informs why the characters are the way they are. Like, obviously Xander is Joss Whedon in that. In Buffy, it's where he puts all this stuff. It's the same with a lot of showrunners. They'll pick one character that's them.
But with Joss Whedon, with Buffy, people see just a cheesy, bad special effects 90s TV show, but people don't.
But I'm probably a bad person. That's because you're teaching the wrong way, right? Because you and I, as kids, obviously we got to Buffy. That was TV for us, and we went from there, which informed everything we've seen since. Whereas going back to Buffy, having never seen it, is you've seen the results of what Buffy did to pop culture, and then you're going back to the beginning, and it doesn't. This isn't a world that has the pop culture that we currently have. This was a world trying to make an entrance. So again, you're learning something. You don't naturally understand these things. You don't naturally grasp these shows just because your brain is wired to understand them. Your brain has to be wired to understand them by going the right way. If I'd been raised on what my dad wanted to raise me on, which would have been like historical war movies, I think I'd have had a much more sort of practical view on the world. I don't think I would have enjoyed things like the Avengers. Whereas my mom raised me on dreams and silly and action heroes and superheroes and sci-fi, big sci-fi fan. And that led into everything else. I don't think I would have picked up comics if it wasn't for my mom's love of sci-fi and mystery stuff.
Maybe.
You know, she was raised on The Hobbit. My dad was raised on war movies.
Yeah. See, my dad, every other weekend, made us watch the Star Wars trilogy and the Indiana Jones trilogy.
Okay, yeah, Dad was a big Indiana Jones and Star Wars, but then so was Mom. So I was never going to escape those movies.
But those then obviously with my mum, I didn't. I picked up my own things, and they shaped me.
If you look at the stuff I like now, you can trace back to what started it, which would have been what my mom was playing, watching, or reading at the time. So again, I was taught.
Everybody's like that.
Yes, but I was taught subconsciously, and that led me to where I am now. I wasn't naturally born to love comic books.
No,
I was born.
That's not talent. It's different.
Yes, but all my talents seem to be connected to pop culture because that's my obsession.
Creativity.
Yes, but that's because I was reading at a young age. I was taught to read at a young age.
Yeah, but you have a creative mind.
Yes, but I don't think I was born with a creative mind. I think babies are born as empty vessels, and you pour in, and they change. The only time I disagree is serial killers.
But then why? Because I think to a point, yes, we are sponges that when we're first born. So to a point, but I think naturally, if there were 10 kids that were brought up exactly the same way by the same parents and had the same experiences, they're not all going to be
But they wouldn't have the same experiences because they're surrounded by other kids.
And hypothetically.
Yeah, but I
Do
think,
you know what I mean?
I think it's a gradient thing as well because like I've got two brothers. One of I'm the oldest, and I was a bit of a pain in the ass as a kid, and now I'm the one trying to, in my own way, change the world, right? Whereas the middle brother is the emotional sort of attention central sort of rock star type. That trait still exists in my brain and my mom's brain, but it didn't exist enough in my brain because I was too busy with my head in a book. So he's now taken another piece. He didn't just magically become more attention central. He still uses pieces of the original puzzle that made him.
True, but he's
already
natural
triggered to do that.
Natural progression in his own mind. He is himself, so he is. Do you know what I mean? So you both had the same kind of, sort of, obviously different experiences, but you have part of that in you. Little bit, but he's got a big bit and little bits of other things you probably have.
Yeah, but there's a balance to that. So he's still learning the same things I'm learning, or he still learned the same things I learned when we were in a family unit together as youngsters. Yeah. But he, for whatever reason, was pushed towards sort of the more attention-seeking.
Because naturally, his brain is wired that way.
Because we've all got the same building blocks in our, like, at least the way I see it, okay, we're not triplets, there's age gaps, and that has a huge factor, because obviously there's living in shadows and all that stuff, but his brain he hasn't accessed something that magically doesn't exist. It exists in the previous sibling plus the creators of the family, right? So genetically he was already capable of that. So something, a sort of nurture element, something pushed him towards that part of his brain. Maybe because you've already got the older brother who's a bookworm and a nerd. Why follow in those footsteps? Why not rebel? Or there are other things worth rebelling to.
That's what he's just like.
That's the thing. I'm sort of reticent to agree with you in any way, shape, or form, because otherwise the video ends.
No, but at the same time,
I hear what you're saying, but my thought process is you are born with some kind of hereditary personality capabilities. If your father's a stoic, chances are you'll end up a stoic, but not because you were born a stoic. You were born a baby.
No,
but his attitude passes down. So it's not essentially hereditary. There's nothing genetic about it. You're born as a blank piece. You'll have brown hair and brown eyes, and you'll be you know, more athletic because genetically you're more athletic in the family, right? The family is an athletic family. Those things, sure. But your brain itself, the little pink thing that runs the entire system.
I need to backtrack you there. Genetically more athletic.
Well, your build is definitely important, but we're talking about
No, no.
mental capabilities.
No. Being athletic is habit or practice.
Yeah, but
that's not natural. If we're going to go by your stance on this,
the physical attributes of your parents do pass to you, and while you can adjust
you can't come out looking like a bodybuilder when you're a baby if you've got a bodybuilder dad.
No. Bodybuilding is different. You're pumping a lot of chemicals into your body.
But if you're naturally, you know what I mean?
If your family are naturally tall, thin, you're probably going to be pretty good at running, but you still have to learn how to run. You are not going to come out of the womb being a good sprinter, but you may come out of the womb with a physical capability.
Like singing?
No.
Because your vocal cords
because it's still artistic.
It's different.
Yeah, and we've agreed that your vocal cords are different, but you can still learn to be better.
Yes. But...
See, because I disagree that Christina Aguilera was a good singer straight from the moment she came out of the womb, kicking and screaming. She didn't have a better sounding scream when the doctor slapped her on the arse.
I think as soon as she started just singing,
It was a good start.
Yeah, I think immediately her voice sounded nicer and was physically able to be able to do it better when she started singing, be it when she was 3 or when she was 7.
I would say she had like a 2% edge over you, and then she started practicing.
Still 2%.
Yeah, but it's a minuscule difference.
No, doesn't matter. We're saying whether it's there or not. So you just agreed with me, motherfucker.
I mean, I agree with some of the stuff you're saying anyway.
Oh yeah, I agree with some of the stuff you're saying as well. But the sport thing can't be one and not the other. You can't say...
I was a naturally good swimmer because my mum kept teaching me to swim because she was a naturally good swimmer because she enjoyed swimming. Exactly.
But that's
so she taught me how to be a good swimmer.
Yeah, but you didn't say that. You backtrack. You didn't say that. You said about
I said running, which is weird because I fucking hate running.
But forget what it is. You said
yes.
that if you've got athletic
you are
parents,
physically
you
built
physically built.
differently.
No, so that's
because we're not all the same shape and size. No. But you were talking about drawing.
That's backtracking ages ago.
Yes, but while I agree that people are born with a physical edge over other people because of the way the genetics combine. I completely agree with that. You're absolutely right. Some people are born with an edge over their competition, and other people have to work harder. Mm-hmm. You know, Usain Bolt is definitely built to be a runner. He just happens to have spent loads of time getting really good at
training,
right?
Yeah, practice.
Just like Mo Farah is also a really good runner, but he looks nothing like Usain Bolt, right? Mm-hmm. So, yes, genetically you can be born with an edge over your competition. But your example was drawing.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Yes, that's a mental thing. I feel that drawing is more your brain than any other part of your body. Yes, your hand helps, but your brain is guiding the hand. Mm-hmm. You learn that muscle memory. Mm-hmm. Right, so some things, I think most things, especially if they're a cerebral skill, have to be taught.
I would like to somehow get 2 people, if it's you and Billy.
Yeah.
And give you both a challenge to draw something every day for a week and see which one of you, see if you both come out with the same skill level by doing the same amount of time, drawing the same thing every day for a week. I bet you one of you is better than the other.
Yes, but see, what you need to do is get 2 twins who have never drawn before. We get it?
Yeah.
So what happened?
Phone stopped recording.
Wonderful. So you were making a really good point and it's gone. We have no evidence of it ever taking place.
What? No, we don't.
No, we don't. But
we both know that I was right though, right?
The only way to make it work is to use twins, so I'll agree on that point. Mm-hmm. But I think, yeah, this was a good topic to choose because there isn't actually a clear winner here. Mm-hmm. Neither of us are completely changed by each other's views, but we have more view to take on, which is sort of the point of these, is it's supposed to be perspective. Yeah,
I think we both have gone, oh, actually, okay, maybe part of that could be true and part of it is still I'm right.
The whole point of these things is because we're supposed to put perspectives out there. We're not trying to force anybody to believe what we believe. I'm not trying to change anyone's mind. I'm just trying to present them with more information to think about. Now, yes, so far there are vanilla topics, but it is enough practice for us and enough sort of viewing for them to know that when the big stuff does start happening, when the important topics are discussed, there may not be a winner. I mean, there should be, but there may not
But it
be a
depends
winner.
what it is, I think. I think also it's nice to be able to do what I would say is silly, and this is quite a trivial topic.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, because then it means that you're getting a feel for where you really want Chimera Dreams and other things to progress to.
Yeah.
And so this has been fun, and this has been
it's been great.
Interesting.
I think I like these middle grounds discussions more than I like doing things like video blogs and stuff. So it's good for me to break things up because I think I am more up and more aware and more sort of able to talk about things when there's a person to talk to. I'm just talking a phone on a stand. I'm basically talking to myself. And on the low days, that's not a good thing. And on the high days, it's great, but I'm not really talking about anything of any substance. This feels like it's more important and there's more substance to it. And there'll be more and there'll be different people.
I like the fact that it's just us talking. We do this all the time anyway.
Exactly.
And so it is interesting.
But that's where this all spiraled from, is talking to my friends, realising how much I love talking to my friends and going, why the fuck don't I have this recorded so I can look at it? Yeah, YouTube could look at it too. But it's there for posterity's sake as well. Whether people agree or disagree, that wasn't the purpose of this. It was just to sort of show that there's more than just, silly cat videos out there.
Plus, there's anything wrong with silly cat videos. I have about 100 of them on my phone.
I don't know if you can read that, but yeah.
There's nothing else cat related in this room.
No, of course not. Just because the camera can't see it.
The camera can't
but it's
see
good.
it,
It's the first one out there. I think I was just itching to get one out there because obviously I've got the one with Scruff. It's good to go, but Scruff and I are busy. We haven't been able to sit down and edit it. I don't have editing capabilities, so it's sort of just trying to scratch the itch I've got to create more content.
Yep.
And I know that some people might find this funny, and some people might find it interesting, and some people might not give a shit. I thought it was pretty funny.
When?
I don't know.
When my camera didn't work.
Yeah, no, I thought that was pretty fantastic. That jump cut is really going to mess with people. But I think before it happens again, we should probably sign off for now.
Okay, but so recap.
Yeah.
I'm right.
No.
No. I have learnt that there are other opinions that could be taken into consideration on certain things.
But for the most part, you still think you're right.
Yeah.
That's fine. I wasn't here to dissuade your
No,
opinion.
I know you weren't.
But I was here to fight my corner.
Yeah, and I get it.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it.
Oh, no,
but I still want to get twins.
Yeah.
And test them. Oh, and challenge you. That's one thing that it got put off.
Yeah.
I'm challenging Greg to draw something every day to prove, on his part, he wants to prove that that drawing is not a talent that you're born with. It's something you can learn.
Yeah.
So you're going to try.
Yeah, absolutely. Just got to figure out something to draw first.
And then we're going to do a really funny, fast video of him drawing, like something in front of me. I'll film it. He's like, and then you put it up, and it's like, not born with that talent. I mean, I have faith in you. I'm sure you can draw stupendously. Or because you weren't born with it. Maybe. No.
So that was the first middle grounds discussion. All the necessary links will be in the comments below, in the description below. Like, comment, share, and if there's something you do want us to talk about, something important, then send a comment through on YouTube or on the Facebook or on the blog itself or on my Instagram or on my Twitter, and we'll use that as the next middle grounds topic. If we don't know anything about it, we might need a couple days research because I won't talk about something that I know nothing about. But let us know, and we'll start recording those as soon as we can. Thanks for watching.